Hello there everyone and welcome back to another 5-9 gaming video. We are here once again with WandaVision. We've got some wonderful people here including Alec Hunter.
Hey guys.
Of course we've got Naz Darachi.
What's going on?
And guest starring today we have the wonderful, the beautiful, the Scottish Hazink.
I don't know about beautiful, but thanks for the intro waffles. I appreciate it.
I'll take it. It's fine. All right. So once again, spoiler warning, we are going over the entire episode, covering all the important stuff. So if you haven't seen this episode, go watch it, come back here and give us 2 views. It'll be great. So everybody ready to start talking about this?
Yeah, even though it says it in the title, just to clarify on that, this is specifically episode 8.
Yes, that's true. Yes, it is episode 8, so no confusion there. I forgot to mention that. That's important. We are almost to the end of the series. How are you guys feeling about this?
Pretty impressed up to this point. I mean, their title scheme is great. Like, this episode's title was previously on, and that's exactly what the episode was about. Like, because it's our time travel story. We get it for Agatha and we get it for Wanda.
Not only that, did you see the little subtle details? Like, the TV shows that she was watching during the flashback were the themes for the previous episodes. Like, you saw Malcolm in the Middle in there, the Dick Van Dyke Show. There was, like, a lot of layers going on that went full circle with stuff that happened earlier in the series. I thought that was really neat.
The only one
I think they've always been good about that.
Yeah, the only one I didn't see reference was last week's. Like one of the really modern ones, like The Office or Modern Family. I never seen that in any of the suitcases or her watching them, so it's quite interesting.
Yeah, I didn't see that either.
It's quite interesting to know that just something she's watched later in life has appeared in her fantasy, but they never referenced it in that episode. They did all the other ones, but not them.
For sure. So yeah, I think that it's exciting for me as well. I've been having a great time. I think that they really do a good job with those details and honestly every aspect of this show. It's been really interesting going with you guys every week, trying to dig in to get all the important things. And so I think we should transition to the first part, the opening with Agatha. After the previously...
Salem, 1693.
Yes, thank you for the year because I totally forgot it. Thank you. So Salem, 1693, we have a almost inverted version of the witch trials where we have a witch on trial with other witches. So that was really interesting. Apparently, Agatha was in trouble for, I guess, getting knowledge that was beyond her station was the word that they used.
Was it like dark magic or something like that?
And also like dark magic.
The darkest of magic.
The darkest. Okay, so just not normal darkness, the darkest of magic. So she was on trial. The witches were basically going to kill her, I think. And then she kind of turned it around on them and ended up like consuming their power. And they left them kind of this skeleton of themselves, not like an actual skeleton, but clearly emancipated. So like, it was really interesting seeing that. How did you guys feel about that?
How dumb was her mum? It's like, I'm watching that and I'm like, you've just seen what happened. Why would you do that, you stupid woman? She's like, I'll just join in this getting sucked to death thing. Here we go.
It's okay. It's Salem in the 1600s. I mean, what's it like to live anyways, right?
Oh yeah,
the main thing that I would point out here is throughout not only this intro but the rest of the show, there's been like very clear but very subtle differences between the type of magic that people are allegedly using and the color that they are like is associated with that. Like the witches in the beginning of this episode are using like a light like aqua blue when they attack Agatha. Agatha's magic is like a deep black purple color, and then of course you have Scarlet Witch or Wanda who's using the red magic. So it's very interesting to see that. It's almost like just Sith versus Jedi and everyone with their different colored lightsaber or something like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there's some meaning in that? Or is it just to color code everyone?
I just think the meaning for it is people's alignment, like what they are, like obviously Agatha, black magic, possibly evil, okay, dark purple color. The other witches, kind of, nature magic, kind of neutral, all right, it's light blue. And then you have, obviously, Scarlet Witch, chaos magic, red, you know?
Was Wiccan's light blue the same color?
What? I didn't, y'all were talking
Sorry,
about
was Wiccan's blue the same color as the witches?
Didn't
a
see
similar
him.
Similar, okay.
Maybe it has to do with like the purity levels or something.
Maybe.
I think it's more just so when they have their big action set pieces, we've become familiar with the color of each character's power, so it's easier to follow the action when it becomes a CGI fest.
Yeah, that would definitely be like a mechanical, functional reason for it existing.
I mean, there are some that you can take away. Like, obviously, Agatha's got her purple/black magic energy. Wanda is red because it's Scarlet Witch. That's really what the characters, it comes from the comic books. That's why it's red. If there's an in-universe explanation for the power, I don't think it's something that we're going to get during this series. Maybe they'll touch on it lightly during Doctor Strange.
I was going to say Doctor Strange. Maybe we do though, because obviously when you watch Doctor Strange, they talk in that about where people draw their power from. You know what I mean? Like, obviously you can draw your power from different places. I mean, yeah, I know Doctor Strange is probably a different type of magic, but it's still magic and within the Marvel magic universe kind of thing. So
yeah, he's the sorcerer supreme. Yeah,
maybe it just literally comes down to where they draw their magic from. Do you know what I mean? So maybe Agatha has tapped into, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead here, but maybe she has tapped into Mephisto right enough, and that's where she's getting her power from, and that's how it looks different from everyone else's. Do you know what I mean? We don't know yet, but I don't necessarily think it's fair to say we won't get an explanation. We still could potentially get an explanation next week.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it didn't introduce any big set piece villains like Mephisto or Nightmare, because we still don't know which one it's going to be. Like, Disney might go with the safer route, which would be Nightmare, because then they avoid the associations like literal Satan and stuff like that, which might not bode well in China. But we haven't seen anything like that. This episode, the title says, is mostly backtracking.
Funnily enough, Naz, the thing about this episode is they might have introduced it and right in plain sight, and we'll obviously get to this later, but we might just not know who it is. Do you know what I mean? They may have already revealed the big villain, but they just haven't really.
Yeah, like the mailman, so or that other. What was the name of the other blonde?
Dottie.
Dottie or the mailman. They're both still sus, also.
I have a different theory on what's going on, but we can get to that later in the review. We should talk about Wanda's therapy session.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, before we do that, why don't we talk about Agatha and what her role would be here? Because, obviously going into this episode from the last one, you think of her as the clear villain of the series, right? But then they're doing another, not even 180, maybe like a 90-degree turn here, where she's not really purely antagonistic. It seems like she's more curious.
Yeah, she's also kind of instructing Wanda as they go. Like, she's... Normally, if you're a bad guy and your only goal is to learn a piece of information then kill somebody, you don't bother explaining things. I mean, the supervillain trope, of course, is to do that. Like, explain your evil plans before you fight, and then you ultimately lose. But in this situation, it doesn't seem like it's being used in that tropey way. Like, you had Agatha literally explaining the protection spells that she put up, explaining how that she did the hexes, like even going as far as show different hand movements and talking about drawing energy and stuff. Like, in the comics, Agatha was a mentor to Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, I was going to say she was.
Yeah, so even if she's being very aggressive here, almost to the kidnappy level, was and the end of the episode, it also ends with Agatha choking her kids and holding using them as a human shield almost, it seems.
I think it wasn't until the end that she was ready to actually kill Wanda. I don't think she was ever planning to actually kill her until that last bit, and we can get into that a little later.
She might understand the consequences of her actions better than Wanda does. I mean, we don't know what the Scarlet Witch means. She knows what a Scarlet Witch is. We don't know what a Scarlet Witch is. There might be consequences to Wanda's magic that we don't know about yet. So she might feel that she needs to do something about it. So we still don't really know what's going on there, because it was once she realized that Wanda was a Scarlet Witch, she went to take her two sons, which are beings that she's obviously created, completely from creation, and she's like, well, this is bad, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So we don't actually know yet about her true intentions.
She comes across as being kind of like an arrogant or patronizing type of instructor, the person that's kind of pushing her to kind of explode to see what happens, but more like an adversary versus a villain. They're kind of peers right now, but Agatha has the edge for now.
So here's my thoughts on this. Okay, so Agatha senses this magic coming from Wanda. She assumes it's normal witch magic. Like a witch is just doing some crazy amount of magic. She wants to figure out how, because we already know she's obsessed with power. I mean, 1693, her coven was going to sacrifice her because she was reaching, beyond her station for power. So when she gets there, she can't figure out how it's working. So she tries all these different ways that we've seen throughout the episodes of figuring out how Wanda did it. And like she says at the beginning of the episode, she wants to know. So she's not playing nice anymore. She realizes Wanda has absolutely no idea about actual witchcraft. That's why she starts showing her the power. She's like, you have all of this power, but you know none of the basics. And then we get to go on the magical mystery tour. So so Agatha can figure out how this all went down. I don't think Agatha's role was necessarily antagonistic until she found out the answer to how this whole thing went down.
Yeah, I'm in that camp as well. I do feel that way.
Well, even though it's at the end of the episode, they're kind of in a Mexican standoff. Like, we don't even know if they're going to fight each other or if Agatha's just trying to, like, protect herself and be like, all right, this is what's going on. This is what's going to happen. Like, I don't even know what's about to happen. Like, they might fight or things might go a completely different direction.
I mean, apart from killing Sparky, she's not done anything particularly bad, right? Because if you even look at the start of the episode and the flashback, she never set out to kill them. She protected herself from when they were trying to kill her. Do you know what I mean? She never, started to try and kill her coven. That's not what she tried to do. Literally, they were killing her and she protected herself. She never set out to kill them. So you can't actually even say in that episode she done anything inherently bad. Do you know what I mean? I'd say mischievous, maybe. Yeah. I suppose
but she did kill a dog.
Wanda. She even was trying to repent to her coven. She was trying to repent to them in the beginning before they attacked her. She's like, "I'm sorry, I won't do it again." Type behavior. She was saying.
She was playing innocent. Let's be honest, now she wasn't.
Probably.
She was playing innocent. Yeah,
but you kill usually 6 people in the 1600s. It's not really a big deal. We can forgive that. But I'm sorry, we can't forgive Sparky. Not after Sparky.
The dog might have been a demon itself. I don't even know.
No. It's a dog.
Layers within layers.
Gosh. Okay, well, let's talk about the therapy time, because we touched on it a little bit. So essentially, Agatha was taking Wanda on an adventure through her past traumas, just trying to understand, how did Wanda do this? How did Wanda get her powers? How did all of this happen? We get a lot of backstory on Wanda, including one very small retcon. Alec, if you want to just go ahead and tell us about it.
Okay, so the small retcon is not that big of a deal, but the story they told in Age of Ultron, when they were explaining to Ultron, I believe it was, about their past, was that they were sitting down to eat dinner when the bombs hit. They were obviously not doing that in this. They were having TV time. I do think it's cool that they used TV, especially sitcoms and stuff like that, to learn English, to improve their English. It's a good explanation for, I'm sure a lot of people actually do that in real life.
They do actually, yeah. That's something I recommend.
But there was another retcon in the story that is actually pretty massive, and that's just after the bomb drops. When we see the Stark bomb, we can actually see the logo on it. Wanda, when she's a little kid, reaches out with her hand from underneath the bed, starts talking about how it's all a dream, it's all going to be okay. And then she's ripped out of that part of the memory wheel, and Agatha says something to the effect of, "Did I just see you cast a probability hex?" This would have been long before her exposure to the Mind Stone. And then later in the episode, Agatha talks about how she is a baby witch, that her power would have probably died on the vine if it hadn't been for the Infinity Stone. So we have the retcon that Wanda had these powers before her encounter with the Infinity Stone, which brings mutants into the MCU.
Well, is that necessarily even a retcon? Because Wanda, at the time when she was a kid, didn't even know she had the powers. So she wouldn't have been able to articulate that when explaining it to Tony Stark or whoever else. Like, they kind of left it open.
Established continuity is that Wanda and Pietro got their powers from the Infinity Stone.
Yeah. So it's a minor retcon.
This says that Wanda at least had powers before the Infinity Stone. That's a retcon.
Yeah.
I agree with Alec here, because pre-Marvel getting Fox on board, Marvel didn't really go down the whole latent abilities route. Everybody got their abilities somehow. Do you know what I mean? They got them from an event or whatever. They weren't born with them. That's mutants. Do you know what I mean? They tried to do it with what was it they called them in Agents of Shield? They kind of used mutants, but they didn't.
Inhumans
Call them
something like that.
Yeah, they called them something else. Do you know what I mean?
Inhumans.
Inhumans, that's what it was. But that didn't go down very well, so they didn't really run with it in the movies or anything like that. And obviously now they're like, well, hang on, we can use mutants again. So it was pretty clear that they were trying to establish that she had this latent ability within her, and obviously the Mind Stone has enhanced that rather than created that. Which is, I'd agree with Alec. I'd say that is definitely. It was put across that they purely got their powers from the Mind Stone. That is what was said in Age of Ultron. They're the only ones that survived the experiments.
Agree to disagree and stuff. I mean, that's just a hex. That's magic. Like, she's channeling energy, like you said, from another possible dimension and stuff. It's not like she necessarily has like mutant ability. Well, they could go that route. I don't know, because the comics have done it like 9 different ways. And
I think it depends on what happens with Pietro there, because if Pietro also had those powers before he got the Mind Stone or something,
they didn't really show much about him. I would expect his entirely did come from the Mind Stone, but her ability to understand and use nature magic even a little bit without her knowing, I think that's still in the realm of. It slides into the plot without it being too abrasive, like you say. They went back and they changed this. Well, it makes sense, you know. She could use.
I'm not saying
makes sense. It's not a bad thing.
Retcon. I'm saying it is a retcon. Not every retcon is bad, Nas.
Right.
Yeah, no, it is fine.
I just see it as like an open window they left back
Right.
then.
The thing is, as well,
they
they haven't spoke about anyone up to now. Yes, we've got magic in the MCU, Stephen Strange, etc. But he had to learn it from scratch. He didn't have this Harry Potter style. Oh, I can do some tricks. I can make a bloody glass disappear and talk to snakes. It was
the time stone to look into the future and saw that he had a natural ability for magic.
He did, but he never demonstrated that magic.
Yeah, they said
ability.
that.
But he never demonstrated it before he went to.
He never expressed
learning.
any powers. Like, Wanda straight up just basically willing a bomb to not explode subconsciously. That's a power.
I would argue otherwise. I would say Stephen Strange manifested his powers and the ability to do surgery effortlessly while talking to people about music and photographic memory. Like, he was just channeling, in a different way. But that was just showing his aptitude for extraordinary abilities, right?
Yeah, I think though that's a little bit different.
Yeah,
because you're finding a skyscraper in a 3-foot puddle.
Yep.
Well, no,
I agree.
We can agree to disagree just to keep the progression moving forward.
Yeah, so let's continue talking. So we talked a little bit about Agatha, but I think we got the real villain reveal here, and you guys might agree or disagree on this one as well. But we got a whole lot more information about Hayward, where before, and I think maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, he showed Wanda breaking into the facility, the sword facility, and stealing Vision, when we're now confirmed by watching Wanda's point of view that she did not steal Vision's body. That was kind of manipulated footage, honestly. It was just 2 instances where she showed a little bit of aggression, but yeah, he kind of pushed her into it. He egged her on a lot in that moment. And so, like, she did not steal his body. And then at the end, in the post-credit scene, we see them with the little drone that Wanda gave back to them, using Wanda's powers to bring Vision's body back to life as the White Vision. Now, I don't know very much about White Vision because I haven't read that comic. If one of you guys wants to pop in and talk a little bit about that.
So when Vision was originally created in the comic books, he was his mental state was based off the brainwave patterns of Simon Williams, the Wonder Man. And there was a whole lot of, behind the scenes, they couldn't use Wonder Man for some legal reason or another, so they put the character into a coma, and then they created Vision to kind of, bring him back a little bit. And then they were able to use him, so then they didn't need Vision for it anymore, so they had to come up with a story for Vision. And what happened was Vision was destroyed and then rebuilt. But when he was rebuilt, he no longer had the brainwaves and personality of Simon Williams with him. And he came back as an all-white robot instead of the colorful one that we see. And he was just basically a robot. He was devoid of most of his personality. He was very cold, very calculating. Not a bad guy, just a neutral robotic tool for the Avengers.
How long did that go on for?
White Vision was probably, I don't know, 7 years, something like that. I'm not 100%. Like, I didn't really follow Avengers all that well.
Did you ever end up ultimately know the fate of White Vision? Like, what happens to him in the long run?
As far as I know, he just kind of, like Data from Star Trek, just became more and more human, developed a personality. And then he's like I said, I don't really follow Avengers all that much, but I don't believe there's been any major retcon to like bring Simon Williams' brainwaves back to Vision. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Yeah, because they skirted that in the movies by making him an amalgamation of Jarvis and Ultron, right?
Yeah.
So, do you think there's any opportunity here or any window where Hayward is not necessarily 100% evil? Like, we know he's coming from the background of prejudice against enhanced individuals, right? But, and obviously that's not good, but maybe he feels like, almost like Thanos, like he's trying to bring back Vision for the greater good because they can use this weapon to handle any enhanced that go crazy and try and blow up a city or something like that. Kind of like the same logic Tony has to why he built the Hulkbuster, right?
I don't think it's going to be like a comically evil villain. That's not what Marvel's been doing recently.
So that's what I'm thinking. I was like, do you think there's any room here where in the process of recreating this Vision bot that Ultron comes back?
Nah.
No, not Ultron.
I don't think they're going to retread that. Like, if it was a comic book, yes, I do think they would. That would absolutely be the backdoor they would use to bring back Ultron in the body he wanted to be in, so he could be the ultimate killing machine. But it doesn't feel like something they would do in the film franchise within this more structured, stable universe that they've created. I think it's more likely that White Vision is going to be our path to restore Vision.
Are we avoiding the fact that Hayward might not actually be Hayward? Like, we've never seen this guy getting his job and all the rest of it. He triggered Wanda. He made Wanda go away. He essentially psychologically pushed Wanda to go and do something, right? Wanda went to do something. She willed a new version of Vision into existence, which I agree with Alec. I think that version of Vision's end up going to get pushed into this shell and it will become Vision, because obviously Vision can't exist out with the Hex. But are we just avoiding the fact that he might not be a normal guy? He could be the Nightmare. He could be the Mephisto of this story. He might actually not be a human being. He could be some other kind of being. I don't, because he's managed to convince an entire SHIELD organization that Wanda stole Vision. I mean, I don't think it's as simple as everybody get on the same page as me. It's like everyone who like thinks that Wanda took Vision.
We already know after seeing Nick Fury impersonated by a Skrull for an entire movie, anything like that's possible, right?
Right.
I mean, I could. Secret Invasion's another thing. I don't think we're looking at Secret Invasion for this one, but we could be. I mean, who knows? But
I think we also have to acknowledge that someone gave her the letter, and that was something that doesn't make a lot of sense.
Like,
Vision. That's something from Vision. This is.
But someone put it in her car.
Gifted to her before the events of Infinity War.
Oh, like, here's our plan. Let's build a house together. Oh, and then I died.
Yeah, they probably did that when they were in Edinburgh, because if you remember, they were in Edinburgh at the start of the Infinity War. That's me just dropping in that they filmed some of Avengers in Scotland. Yay!
Okay, fair enough.
But that could have been then, because they were planning a life, weren't they? They were, they were
going talking about running away together.
Man, that could have been the plan, that little plot right there, little house.
Yep. And then she goes there, she just breaks down, and all of it happens instantaneously out of her grief with no real actual control of how it happened. So everything she has said up to this point is true. She had no idea how it actually happened because she repressed her memories, and we didn't find out about it until we took the magical mystery tour.
That goes full circle back to Wanda's therapy time, which that was the final step that Agatha wanted to see. Like, how did you do this? Like, this whole process of events of this episode was Agatha trying to figure out how Wanda, because the entire episode Agatha is basically belittling Wanda, being like, You have all this power and you're over here making French fries and watching TV and stuff. Like, to paraphrase, like you could do all this stuff and you're just wasting it to live a quiet little life right here. Like, how did you do this? And that was her motivation for the entire episode, is finding out how Wanda did it, because Agatha could tell that it was done through magic, but she didn't know how, right?
Yeah, because she was saying it was like a whole bunch of different kinds of spells happening that even like extended farther than it should have been. And so, yeah, she was just really curious to find out how it happened. And of course, as viewers, we were really curious to find out how it happened. And it's nice to actually see that put on screen.
And I think when she realized that Wanda just did it, like in an instant, just boom, all of this happened, it rattled her cage. She's scared.
Oh yeah, like at the end, she definitely seemed to be very scared.
No, but that's the thing. I don't think she's scared for herself. I think this is like reality tearing stuff going on here. I think like, we obviously know with the fact it's going to introduce Doctor Strange, which surely somebody's got to show up next episode, because they did say we're going to get one big cameo still. But as soon as she's seen that, she like realized that this could be something that completely affects the fabrics of reality and could tear the world apart for all we know. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, in the comic books with House of M, she literally did change the fabric of reality. So you know that if they go full bore with her, she's probably, is she not an Omega level in the comics? Scarlet Witch isn't she? She's like an
Omega level. Yeah, she's definitely Omega level.
She's like a Nexus being. Like
if you go with the comic, I mean, she could probably destroy the entire planet if she really wanted to. Do you know what I mean?
Which actually, let's talk a little bit about that, I think. Because, like, we got a lot of confirmation about what her powers actually are in the MCU. And so, like, I think they are a lot closer to what they would be in the comics.
Yeah, you hear at the end, Agatha and that little final confrontation. I don't know if she's scared necessarily, but she's like, you're dangerous, basically. She's like, you dangerous. You can do dangerous stuff. Like, you are a Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird how they say versus the. Because in the comics, there's no precedent for there being other or multiple Scarlet Witches, or like it being a title that's passed down through the ages. Like, it was just Wanda. She's the only Scarlet Witch. So that could be a possible retcon that they're doing for the MCU specifically. I don't know.
I think they just want to get the name in there, and like it's gotten to the point where it's too long where she hasn't had a name. And so like this is their way of maybe categorizing her type of magic and still also giving her nickname.
So yeah, directly called out. She said, like, Agatha said, this is chaos magic. That makes you a Scarlet Witch. So chaos magic straight up is a call from the comics. That is the magic that Wanda uses in the comic books from when she was, oh my god, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this. She was corrupted by the demon god Cthulhu. Yes, I just said that. That happened. I love comic books.
Which, honestly, though, like I had to look this up afterwards and like hear this story, and it looks really similar to what they might actually be doing with Wanda's powers, except instead of a demon god, it might be an Infinity Stone. That's just my take on it.
They're not going to go that in depth with the demons and all that stuff. But yeah, she was a mutant at birth, and the demon altered her mutation so that she was sensitive to magical energy. And then later in her life, she inherited the title of a Nexus being, which is like a focal point of magical energy in all of our reality, in this version of this reality. So, yeah, I mean, she's gonna have crazy powers. I don't even know where they're all gonna take it with, but destroying the planet is not in the traditional sense of like Dragon Ball Z, where Kid Buu just throws a bomb at the planet and it essentially explodes, but she would like tear the fabric of space and time apart. She'd be doing like weirder things to destroy the planet, like demolecularizing it or something like that. I don't know. Her magic being chaos magic, but it's also footnoted that in the comics, even though it's chaos magic, it always works out to her benefit. Maybe that makes it a little bit less chaotic, but
Well, that's because in the comic book she's not only a witch, but she's also a mutant, and what her mutant power is probability. She actually has 2 mutant powers: probability control and energy manipulation. So that working with her chaos magic gives her an advantage in the comic books, and I don't know if we're gonna get any of her mutant powers in the MCU. I think her natural ability to do magic, like without casting a spell, because she just stuck her hand out to that rocket and was like, no, you're not gonna blow up. You know, I think that's her inherent power. And then as she learns through this encounter with Agatha about other magic, I think that's going to be her broadening horizon. And because of her innate ability, she's just going to be ridiculously powerful.
Do you think then she'll also get mentored by Doctor Strange based on her appearing in the movie?
They'll definitely interact. I would assume that he will try and... Because Doctor Strange always tailgates behind her, making sure that she doesn't go crazy and lose her mind in the comics, right?
Which happens more often than we'd like.
Yeah. So
well, unfortunately.
I would see Doctor Strange as more trying to mentor her, but also, like, you know, keeping his eyes on her, right? Like, you're a threat. Like Loki, he's like, I've been falling for 30 minutes. Like...
I think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is going to be Wanda's Hogwarts year 1. I think it's all going to be part of her training.
7 years of Doctor Strange.
She's going to kill a troll in the bathroom. Yay!
Okay. Goodness.
Something that's not in the outline, but do y'all want to throw a Hail Mary real quick? Like, we've just gotten the leak of the title for the Spider-Man movie, which is No Way Home. Mm-hmm. On the little teaser image, we don't know what they are, if they're hexes or jump gates like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's pretty clear they're setting that up like that's going to be a multiverse related movie as well, where they're stuck in other dimensions and literally can't find their way home. Do you think that...
So no Way Home, the whiteboard, that's the hexagonal makeup of organic chemistry.
Yeah, so
pointing at his high school stuff. No Way Home is a reference to the fact that he's wanted for murder and he literally can't go home. He has no safe place to go. Him and his friends are on the run.
So I know this is off topic, but there's actually a thought I had with the Spider-Man movie that I was going to throw out at a different time, but we can do this right now. Mm-hmm. So I kind of think that them doing the multiverse with the other Spider-Man is going to be the way that Peter clears his name. Because it's like, hey, I'm not Spider-Man, that guy's Spider-Man, and it's what, Andrew Garfield in the Spider-Man outfit or something?
Well, in the comics, Spider-Man actually, interestingly enough, goes to Doctor Strange for help, and he asks Doctor Strange to cast a spell on the whole planet to make them forget who he is, that he's Peter Parker, Spider-Man. So not only in the comics does Spider-Man interact with Doctor Strange, but now we got WandaVision leading into Doctor Strange 2. Alec, you seem like you're on the camp of like the interviews that Tom Holland has given, where Tom Holland's like, no, of course those, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield aren't going to be in the movie. I would know something like that. They can't keep that from me. They're not going to be in there.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that I think people are reading too much into the Spider-Man stuff in relation to the WandaVision stuff right now, and we should probably finish the review on this episode.
True. I guess we got a little too far off, but okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about, I guess, theories about the kids in Vision, because there's one line that really stuck out to me that Agatha said. It was when she was talking about Scarlet Witch's powers, and she said that she is a being capable of spontaneous creation, which to me implies that Vision and the kids are real in some way. I don't know exactly how, but I want to get your guys' opinions on that.
Yeah, she's seen to be rearranging atoms in the house. She built the house from scratch. She rearranges the TV in there, recreates it as like a flat panel, a retro TV, a modern, like she's definitely rearranging things on like a physical level. But then we've seen like Vision, when he tried to leave the hex, he started to fall apart and get sucked back into it. So I don't know if that's like a specific limitation that Wanda created in the hex herself, like, oh, things that are in here can't leave, or else it's a barrier to basically prevent things from leaving, or if they're more like spiritual in nature and not actually tangible physical objects, right?
Yeah, see, that's the thing I'm stuck on is like, I think that they would be real, but Vision falling apart makes it seem like it might not be. What do you think, Hazing?
I kind of agree. I think that's why we need this white Vision to make Vision an ongoing thing. I don't know how it's going to work with the kids. I genuinely don't.
I do think that they're going to stick around, though.
We didn't go full circle either, back to Agatha talking about Pietro, how she conjured him, or it was like a possession, right? Didn't you say that, Alec?
Yeah, it was some sort of possession. She had a specific name for it. I don't remember it now, but
Started with a C.
Yeah,
But
it was established that Pietro is fake. She even said it. Fake Pietro. Pietro.
Pietro.
Yeah, so he's like a body that's been taken, and she possessed it with the spirit of not the Pietro from the MCU, but still the Fox one. Whereas Wanda can straight up create things, so there's like a difference in their magic, right?
We still don't have any answers to who this fake Pietro is. I mean, if he's anybody, we will learn in the next episode. But I don't think he's anybody. I think he's just some dude who happens to look like Evan Peters, happens to be in Westview, happens to be the tool of Agatha.
So you think it's like a herring that they've thrown on
there? It's fan service. It's nothing but fan service, in my opinion.
I think that is too much for it to just be fan service, and I might be in denial here, but I kind of think that you're right that it's going to be a random guy, but I kind of feel like because of the way the Hex works and like how Photon got her powers, maybe he's also going to get powers from this and then become the new Quicksilver. Obviously not having any of the same memories, and that could add some nice conflict between her and Wanda, but I don't think they'll bring Evan Peters just to throw us off. I feel like there's a little more to it.
Yeah, and then still don't know what the ultimate like limit of Wanda's powers are, but I think the ultimate culmination that can come from like her being able to spontaneously create something is like that white Vision and her version of Vision are somehow merged to make the actual Vision come back without the Infinity Stone and be able to survive outside of the Hex, right? If they merge those two, because I don't think they're going to stick with the white Vision for like, not for phase 4. We just have white Vision now. I think they're going to do something and like,
I think it's pretty much
mind meld
that's what's going to happen.
Because like, didn't like Iron Fist have the mind meld technique or something? Like they could retcon that and to use it here.
I will say, I think so that like, even if we get white Vision only for a little bit, I do think it's going to open the door to something like Sentinels in the future or something like that from what Hayward would have learned. That's just my thought there.
Yeah, all we need is like an Oliver Trask type character to meet up with Hayward after this initial project fails. Then they take what they learn and start making Sentinels, if they go that route. If they want to go the mutants route.
I don't know, Alec, what do you think is going to happen here?
I actually am starting to think that Hayward's just Hayward. Like, I really do. Like, I don't think he's Mephisto. I don't think he's Nightmare. I think he's a super paranoid human being who, after the traumatic events of the snap, took his job incredibly seriously, saw Vision was a weapon that he could use to protect the Earth, and started to do the job that he's paid to do. Wanda shows up 5 years later, all of a sudden after being blipped back, she wants the body of his research tool, and he's like, look, it's government property, I mean, yeah, he was a dick about it or whatever, and he has, his own ulterior motives because he doesn't trust superpowered people. But I don't think he's some extraplanar being with super ulterior motives. I think what we're getting from Hayward on the surface is what we're getting. He's a bigot who wants to, do his job. He wants to protect the world.
More control over.
I almost said a bad word. He's just a jerk.
Yeah. He wants control over the situation and over enhanced individuals from a weaker human perspective, right? And he'll use technology as his weapon, right?
He's typical, Fed in movies. He's government dick.
Well, you said the bad word there.
No.
Okay, Richard, sorry.
We're good.
Okay.
It is interesting that just going back to her powers of spontaneous creation, that Wanda created her version of Vision in the Hex, and then in the teaser at the end of this episode, Hayward uses her red energy to actually reanimate the rebuilt Vision. So like, in the comics too, I do believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Alec, but she actually uses her powers in the comics to resurrect Wonder Man too, I think.
Straight up, yeah. She uses her powers to wipe out and resurrect a bunch of people several times.
Jeez.
She has the ability, in the comic books at least.
So
Okay.
yeah, we might be able to see some reincarnation stuff going on here.
Yeah, that should be interesting to see for sure. Do you think they'll bring in Black Widow or no?
That's what I was about to say. I wonder if they're gonna try and use her to bring back Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson.
I feel like probably not, but I do think it does have the possibility is on the table.
I think we'll have a better idea in May after we see Black Widow.
True. Very true. Well, is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap things up here?
I think we covered everything pretty thoroughly.
No,
Yeah.
the episode left. It didn't really ask too many new questions. It gave a lot of answers, and then it left us on a big cliffhanger for the ending. So now we don't really have too much confusion with all the subplot and how we got to where we are right now. We're just left hanging to find out, how does this end, peak? Like, how does it end, basically, right? And then the tie-in to Doctor Strange, where we're just left hanging until that movie comes out.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited to see what happens in the final episode next week. I hope you guys are as well. We'll be back here covering it on 5-9 Gaming. So you want to make sure you're subscribed to that channel. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and let us know if you guys like this episode or not, because I know we have some mixed opinions on this panel here. And hopefully you guys all enjoyed our analysis here. Yeah? Everyone good?
I'm expecting a big conclusion with another huge cliffhanger at the end of the episode leading into Doctor Strange 2. So,
we still have the
excited.
cameo, so hopefully we'll see that. I don't know. I think I'm starting to lean towards Doctor Strange for the cameo, but we'll see for sure next week.
It's gonna be a long week.
We'll
that's for
definitely,
sure.
as soon as the episode goes up, we'll watch it. We'll keep y'all informed, or at least hopefully you'll watch it too, and then you can come theorize with us about what's going to happen in Doctor Strange 2.
Exactly. We can't wait to see that here. Hopefully you guys are excited, at least as excited as we are, and I hope you all have a great day. See you next time.
Peace out, everybody.